During the final days of the war that Russia claimed was to protect its borders, the conflict has now entered Russia's territory, with the Ukrainian army approaching fortified positions. On the anniversary of Russia's invasion attempt, the Russian army has experienced a breach of its own borders by violating Ukrainian borders. The areas of conflict and explosions that were initially limited to Ukraine are now near Moscow, as confirmed by recent developments where Ukrainian missiles are in range of the Russian mainland. What occurred last night? Let's examine the latest Ukrainian attacks and the hot developments from the previous night. The Ukrainian army, with recent support, has begun to test its strength, causing fear in Russia. Russia's attempts to gain superiority over Ukraine through their air force are becoming increasingly challenging, as even Russian planes can now be destroyed on their mainland. The March 1st attack demonstrated Ukraine's enhanced weapon capacity and range. After an extended period of resistance against Russia, the Ukrainian army is gradually transitioning from a defensive to an offensive position. However, like Russia, Ukraine has no intentions of expanding its borders or providing freedom to the Russian people. The sole purpose of the Ukrainian army is to ensure that no invader remains within its borders. The primary base for Russia's Su-34 fighter bombers participating in their miracle operations is located in Yeysk, Russia, known as the Yeysk airjet base. However, on the night of March 1st, this base became a turning point for the Mariupol attack aircraft. The Ukrainian army deployed kamikaze drones, attacking the Yeysk airjet base, which is situated 150 kilometers inland on the Russian side of the Ukrainian-Russian border. The drones were unstoppable, inflicting significant damage on the base and the Su-34 on the site. The attack caught Russia off guard and caused enormous casualties. The aftermath of the drone strikes on the base has not been made public, but images indicate the destruction was extensive. Explosions and fires were reported in many parts of the city of Yeysk, with a cloud of dust covering most of the area, including the airjet base. This operation was significant as it demonstrated Ukraine's ability to hit Russian targets, not only within their own borders, but also within Russia's borders. Consequently, it has greatly intimidated Russia, which is not safe within its own borders as long as the occupation persists. The Ukrainian army is inflicting heavy losses on the Russian army, destroying strategic targets, armored units, and fortifications in regions where the war is intense. The intangible consequences of this attack are just as vital as the tangible ones. Let us delve into the recent attacks conducted by the Ukrainian army. Their objective is to weaken Russian firepower by targeting their armored vehicles. The 103rd Brigade of the Territorial Defense Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine successfully destroyed a Russian army ammunition depot, causing massive explosions in the area. The Ukrainian armed forces shared images of the drone strikes with the world. The domestic region has become a graveyard for Russian armored vehicles, with many being destroyed by ongoing Ukrainian operations in the area. The 72nd Brigade of Ukraine is responsible for most of the successful attacks against Russia in domestic front. This unit has gained notoriety and will likely be remembered even after the war ends. This week, the Russian armored units have been facing a nightmare in Ukraine due to the success of the 72nd Brigade. An anti-tank mine destroyed a Russian E-72B3 tank, and an ATGM took out a BMP-2 infantry fighting vehicle near Ugledar. However, the 72nd Brigade's success is not limited to these two vehicles, as they have effectively utilized unmanned aerial vehicles in their operations. In their recent drone operation, they destroyed a Russian T-80BV tank and heavily damaged a T-80BVM tank that came to its aid. Although the 72nd Brigade has been a prominent force, it would be unfair not to mention the other units of the Ukrainian army who are working hard to end the occupation. The 79th Air Assault Brigade is one such unit, and they have destroyed modernized Russian BMP-2 Plangmass and BMP-3 infantry fighting vehicles in attacks this week. The Ukrainian army has built a steel wall against the Russian army with its ground and air forces, leaving no passage for Russian armored units trying to advance into Ukraine. The Ukrainian army has turned BMP infantry fighting vehicles into training targets. However, most of the BMPs that enter Ukraine are destroyed and never return. The Ukrainian army is strategically trying to cause as much damage to Russia as possible with minimal effort by targeting their military equipment. With Russia on the brink of economic collapse, replacing their expensive equipment is a challenge, and it is likely that outdated Soviet-era equipment will be added to Russia's arsenal. The Russian army's situation is worsening as it faces the Ukrainian army equipped with modern weapons and efficient tactics. The losses of the Russian army due to Ukrainian operations are increasing, with about 150,000 military personnel, 3,395 tanks, 6,638 armored infantry fighting vehicles, 2,393 artillery systems, 479 million munitions, 247 anti-aircraft systems, 300 aircraft, 2,055 drones, 5,257 tankers and supply vehicles, and 288 helicopters lost since the invasion began. The Ukrainian army's recent operation against the Yeysk jet base, during a time of increasing Russian losses, caused panic in Russia. There is a dangerous situation for Russia as the discarded vehicles sent to Ukraine may now be destroyed within Russian borders. As long as the occupation continues, Russia's losses will continue to increase, leading to the eventual defeat on their own soil. This is all for today. You can support our Ukrainian team by subscribing and hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. We'll be back with more updates and information. Thanks for watching.